let's learn about notes and the fingerings that go along with them. Notes are round circles that lie on these 5 lines we call the staff. Notes can lie on a line, where it's intersecting the line, or on a space, which is in between 2 lines. I'm going to show you a few notes, and I want you to guess whether it's on a line or on a space. Here's our first note. Is it on a line or a space? If you guess line, great. Here's another note. Is it on a line or a space? If you guess space, great. Here's another note. Is it on the line or a space? If you guess space, fantastic. Knowing the difference between notes that are on lines and notes are on spaces is very important. The next thing that we need to be able to do is determine the difference between each note and its position. For example, if I showed you this note, hopefully you could describe it to yourself by saying it's on the second to top line. Or you might say it's on the 4th from bottom line. Whatever works for you to distinguish it from a different note. That's the important thing. Let's take a look at another one. Can you describe this to yourself in some way? You might say it's on the top line. That's great. How about this one? You could say it's on the second to top space, or you can say it's the 3rd space from the bottom. Whatever works for you, you want to be able to tell the difference between each note as you start to learn them. We're going to start learning 5 different notes and the note names and fingerings that go along with them. What you need to remember is the fingering and the note name when just shown the note. Here's what your fingering chart looks like. It's made up of blackened in circles or spaces and open circles. A blackened in space means put your finger down. An open space or circle means leave your finger up. Everything on this side of the line is what your left hand is doing. Everything on this side of the line is what your right hand is doing. This space right here represents your thumb. So in this case, your left hand has your thumb down, your first finger up, and your next 2 fingers down. In the right hand, you have the first 3 fingers down, and your pinky is left up. And that's the fingering for the note D. So, when you see this note, which is on the second to top line, you need to remember this fingering and note name. Okay, let's see if we can test you on this. I'm going to show you several notes, many of them which aren't D, and I want you to be able to recognize the D and show the fingering for it when you see that note. All right, let's start. Is this the note D that we learned? If you guessed no, that's correct. Remember, D is on the second to top line. Okay, here's another note. Is this D? Hopefully you said no. Is this D? Hopefully you said no. Now, is this one D? Yes. What's the fingering? You need to be able to show the fingering for the note within a second of seeing each of these notes. And that's how we learn our notes. Now, you should have downloaded the flashcards from the PDF link in this section. After you cut and fold them, you'll have a set of flashcards with the note on one side and the fingering and the note name on the other. Let's learn another note. This note is called E flat. It lies on the top space. It has a flat next to it. That's what this little B is. So we call it E flat. And this is the fingering for it. It's almost the same as D, only the pinky in the right hand is down. So let's see if you can tell the difference between a D and an E flat. When you see the D, show the D fingering. When you see the E flat, show that fingering. Is this a D or an E flat? Hopefully you remembered it was D. What about this note? It's an E flat. Here's another note. Tried to trick you. Hopefully you recognize that it was E flat again. And finally this note. Hopefully you know that it's a D. And that's how we're going to learn our notes. You're just going to work with the flashcards about 2 to 3 minutes each day, every day, for about 2 weeks. And after that time, you should have no problem remembering these fingerings and note names. When memorizing things like this, it's best to spend a short amount of time memorizing it and then do that each day. In about 2 weeks, you should have no problem remembering these notes. All right, we'll see you in the next lesson.